Hello and welcome. I am INDRAJIT CHAUDHURI, a first year student at IIT Kharagpur, and this is my submission for assignment 3 of the DIY project course Spring 2021-22. The appliance that I chose to disassemble is an old mixer grinder that we don't use much, although it is still in working condition. Before starting, let's plug this in to see if it runs. It does, albeit not flawlessly. The 3 speed settings have become almost identical, and this LED, which should glow, doesn't. Let me proceed by opening the bottom portion. This mixer grinder, just like most others of its kind, consists of 4 main components, namely the universal motor, a speed regulator, a circuit breaker, and an indicator LED. This is the power cable that has 2 wires inside of it. The red one is the live wire and the black one is the neutral wire. Many appliances also have a green earth wire connected to the body for safety purposes, which is absent here. This is a vent for air circulation to prevent the motor from getting too hot. There are also other similar openings at the back. First in series is the overload relay or the circuit breaker. If the current rises above a certain limit, this relay automatically breaks the circuit, which causes the machine to shut down, thereby preventing damage to its other components. To reset it, all we need to do is push this red button on the outside here and the appliance will function normally again. This yellow wire is supposed to connect the LED parallel to the rest of the circuit. As we have seen earlier, the light doesn't glow because the wire is broken. The other wire to the LED is also broken. This is the speed regulator, which is essentially a rotary switch that can change the speed of the motor. There are 3 available speed settings along with an off position. It must be noted that all these components are in series with the exception of the indicator LED. Let me open this further so that we can have a better look at the motor. Finally, here's the main part, the motor. To be more precise, it is a 230 volts 50 Hz universal motor rated 2 amperes 550 watts. Interestingly, universal motors can run on both DC as well as AC. This is the commutator and attached to it are high resistance carbon brushes. Also, running the entire length of the motor through its center is the shaft. This is the main rotating part. It is difficult to see, but inside here are the copper coils that form the rotor winding. Here is a labeled image of a universal motor. These more visible copper coils make up the stator winding, and this is the stator core. The stator is basically the fixed part of the motor. In universal motors, the stator core is usually made up of some type of stainless steel and laminated to minimize eddy currents. Another quite important component is the cooling fan right here, which helps to keep the motor temperature in check. This diagram shows the wiring connections of all the parts present within a mixer grinder. The working principle of the mixer is pretty straightforward. The current enters through the power cable, passes through the stator winding and turns it into an electromagnet. The same current also flows through the rotor winding coil. This creates a torque action due to the Lorentz force exerted on the rotating coil by the magnetic field of the stationary coil. The commutator ensures that this torque always remains unidirectional. Because of this torque, the shaft rotates along with anything connected to it, which in our case is the mixer blade. This is an illustration of what happens when an AC power source is connected to the motor. So that concludes my brief description of the interior of a mixer grinder. Now we can reassemble everything and then we will check whether the appliance still works or not. Here I am back at the plug point again, and the mixer is working just as it was before we took it apart. In the end, I must say, I really enjoyed learning so much about the internal parts of such a common household machine. Thank you very much for watching.